Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, Vols fans. We're your hosts, Bull and Bray. And today we're going to be talking about our volunteers in the Sweet 16. Okay, at least my volunteers in the Sweet 16 versus Creighton. And welcome to my nightmare. Been talking about this for a long time on this channel. Didn't really want to see Creighton. Okay, they've got a lot of length. They've got some great shooters. It's really only about 7 players. You know, they're about 7 deep. But realistically speaking, once we get into the stats, we're going to see that it's just like 4 guys that take up the bulk of their scoring. And outside of that, I think that Tennessee should be able to handle it pretty well. But I will say this, okay, just really briefly and really quickly before we get into everything. I felt really good after that run that Tennessee went on last night, okay, in the second half. That type of energy, that type of passion when the crowd was into it, we kind of talked about that some last night. But that right there gives me a ton of confidence that this team is now ready. And I think that, obviously none of the matchups are going to be ideal for anybody in the Sweet 16 because everyone's getting better, right? It's just good teams left. So I think that Tennessee is definitely one of those programs and, one of the teams that is ready for this moment. So I actually feel really good about it overall. I'll say that. And then we have to touch on something a little bit off topic here really quickly because we got some great news, okay? And, I know some of y'all, Tennessee fans are not really, maybe going to like this, but Trevor Etienne, who is the transfer running back from Florida, transferred into Georgia, is getting acclimated to UGA's culture already. Getting a DUI last night, that's what they do down in Athens. And he also had his windows tinted a little bit too dark. That's what the cops get you for down there in Athens if you are an athlete. Why players continue to go down there and play ball whenever you know that the cops are going to have it out for you, I will never understand. But, I wanted to give a big shout out to Trevor Etienne and to the entire Georgia program for continuing to support the Athens Police Department in a very, very major way. But we're about to go ahead and jump into the X's and O's kind of, breakdown of Tennessee versus Creighton. Please make sure to like and subscribe. All right, so first and foremost, we're going to be taking a look at the matchup analysis. Y'all know that I love this. Creighton right now is at 32% based off of the users' picks, and Tennessee is at 50%. So seems like people are starting to really figure this whole thing out. The Tennessee really is the better team. Now on down to the team comparison. In the net rank, Creighton is 11th, Tennessee is 7th, and record versus top 25. Creighton is 3-2, Tennessee 6-4. So they haven't played up against as good of competition, and we can see that right here in the strength of schedule. Theirs is 49th, ours is 5th. Points per game, they're at about 81 points per game. We're at about 79. They're limiting their opponents to about 69 to 70 points, and we are at 67 points. Now let's scroll on up. Take a look at the last 10 games, and Creighton is 8-2, Tennessee's 8-2. Now, this is where it always gets interesting at for me, is in the team statistics. Creighton is shooting at about 49% from the field. Tennessee's shooting at about 44%. And Creighton is shooting at 36, almost 37% from 3. Tennessee's shooting at about 34%. And Creighton shoots better free throws than we do, okay, at about 78%. And we're at 75%. On down to the key players and their guy, okay, at least one of their guys. I think that, you can make an argument and a case for some other players, but Baylor Shireman, okay, and he's averaging 18.3 points per game, 9.1 rebounds per game, 4 assists, and he's getting, about 37 minutes. All right, now on to Creighton versus Oregon last night. Creighton did end up winning that game in what, double overtime, Bray?
Yep, double overtime.
Okay, so double overtime, 86-73. And look at their leading scorers, right? So we've got Trey Alexander, who I think is a bucket. He's a really good player, 20 points. And then Shireman, who we just spoke about, he had 18. And then Ashworth, who is going to be, I think that's going to be a big matchup between him and ZZ. He had 21 points. And then their big man, Kalkbrenner, had 19 points. Now on to their team individual statistics. And we talked about it. They've got 4 guys. You can see them up here at the top that really lead the way as far as scoring goes for them. And we already talked about Shireman being their leading scorer. Trey Alexander with 17.7 points per game. And then Kalkbrenner is getting 17.4 points per game. Stephen Ashworth with 11 points per game. And I guess we could talk about Mason Miller, 5.7 points per game. But as you are looking over, okay, you can look over to the right real quick, take a look at the field goal percentage, and it's good, right? It's good with everybody on the entire team. And then their 3-point percentage is also good with everyone pretty much on the entire team, especially the guys who actually get thrown into the mix. But come on down here to the bottom, and you can see that they're averaging 80.5 points per game. And look at the field goal percentage, right? About 49% from the field, and they're shooting the 36% from 3, 78% from free throw. So obviously they've got a lot of guys that can score. They've got a lot of great shooters, and then they've also got really good size. Outside of that guard, he's listed as 6'1", but I think he's probably somewhere close to ZZ's height, about 5'10" ish. But that's going to be a really big matchup. And I think that Tennessee can hold their own on defense. I don't feel like Creighton has seen a defense quite like Tennessee, so that's why I feel good at. I also think, just me personally, just in watching some of the highlights and just kind of watching them play over the past couple of weeks in spurts, I feel like DK can really go off in this game. They don't play the best defense, and it does look like they kind of struggle to stick with their guys. I feel like, especially DK coming off of a poor shooting performance last night, coming up here on, Thursday or Friday, whenever this game is, I think DK might drop about 30 points in this one. But Bray, what do you think about this matchup between my Vols and the Creighton whatever?
I think it's gonna be a good matchup. I mean, Creighton on offense, they use a lot of movement. They shoot a lot of threes. And their two main guys are Baylor, Skyerman, and Trey Alexander. They like to get them guys in ISO situations so they can create for themselves. For Creighton on defense, they had trouble guarding Oregon's ball screens last night. Until overtime where they started trapping the ball screens and blitzing the ball screens and getting the ball into the Oregon's big man's hands to make decisions. So I mean they have a very good coaching staff, as you can see right there. And over in the second overtime, I think they outscored Oregon like 16-2 or something like that.
So that was crazy because you could just tell that Oregon just ran out of gas. That was so obvious, and we was talking about it just in watching it. And we were speculating on, hey, do we want to see Creighton, as Vol fans, or do we want to see Oregon? And we were like, well, I don't know what we're going to do about Big Dante. But at the same time, if you look at the teams top to bottom, I feel like Creighton is a much more complete team. Yeah. There's more people that you have to try to stop because anybody, I mean, they're all averaging over double digits. Okay, So we're talking about 4 players on their team that's averaging over double digits. And it's kind of hard just to key in off of one person. So there can be some mismatches. There can be some problems, Bray, like you said. A whole lot of off-ball screens, right? We're going to have to stick with our man because they can shoot. I mean, everybody on that team is catch and shoot. They've got a couple people that can create their own shots. And, I just think that at the end of the day, it's really going to come down to, can we play our best brand of Tennessee basketball? And I feel like we will. I feel like, again, I'm going to take it back to, and that run that we had in the second half last night. You just saw it. It's like that light turned on. Everyone's playing with confidence. You're seeing guys like Tobe coming off the bench playing with the utmost confidence. Triple J playing with the utmost confidence. And, I just want to see guys like Santi maybe get some more confidence in shooting and take more shots. We already knew that DK was going to get his because he ain't going to stop shooting. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of like Kobe in that aspect, but he's not necessarily that same type of a player where he's going to ball hog, but he's going to take it. He's going to get his shots. So, I think that we most definitely can do it. I feel great about this matchup. What do you think Creighton's going to try to do to slow down DK? Because we've seen teams do a multitude of different things. Double teams, triple teams, they're going to throw a whole lot of people at him. What I saw from last night is it looked like they tried to run him off of that 3-point line, especially, on like the inbounds plays. Yeah, you want to try to run him off of that 3-point line and try to make him create off of the dribble. But what do you think Creighton would try to do?
Yeah, I think they'll try to do something similar to that. I mean, try to just make him create, off the dribble and stuff, and then guarding ball screens the same way they kind of did in overtime last night. Trap the ball screen and come with the ball screen. Pretty much just try to get the ball to his hands and give the 80 so he can make plays, or try to force him to make plays. So I think that's what they're gonna try to do. I think they're gonna try to slow DK down, but I mean he's still gonna be able to get his shots. And it's gonna be a challenge for them. Just see how well they can defend him for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then something else, one of my other points is that I think that if we were playing this game, maybe like in a couple of days, I probably would have wanted to see Oregon more because of how tired they looked going into two overtimes. But now that the game is going to be next week, do you think that Creighton is going to be able to get like their legs back under them, or do you think that there's still going to be some tiredness?
Yeah, I mean, I think they'll be able to get their legs back under them for sure. I mean, it's college, so they get all their best treatment, all that type of thing. So I feel like they'll be ready. I mean, and it's a Sweet 16 get in front of all the lights. I mean, they'll for sure be ready.
Do you know where Creighton is?
Omaha, Nebraska.
Oh, wow. So they're okay. So they're going to be used to that cold weather. We're going up to Michigan. It's probably not that cold up in Michigan right now. I mean, it's probably close to what it was in Charlotte as far as temperature goes. So I don't think that's going to play too much of a factor. And I know that y'all are going to be thinking, well, basketball's played indoors, but at the same time, you got to walk outside at some point, and that can kind of mess with your head some. You know what I mean? But and I also just kind of feel like basketball players, seems like any little thing can get them thrown off. So I'm just kind of like trying to look at anything that I possibly can. But at the end of the day, Vols fans, I feel great about this matchup. Bray, if you had to pick a team to win this one, just all honesty, right? Who would you pick?
Honesty, and I think it's gonna be a good game, but I like Creighton to pull it out. I don't know why. I just got a gut feeling. I think they had a poor shooting night. I thought they're gonna come back, shoot the ball well. And I think it's gonna be a tight game, man. It can go any way. It's a coin flip. I'll probably flip 2 or 3 times before the game starts.
Now, are you saying that Tennessee had a poor shooting night?
No, Creighton did from 3-point. In the first half,
Tennessee shot horrible.
Yeah, I mean both teams had poor shooting nights, but Creighton had the best shooting. It was wide open shots they were missing that they usually make. So
yeah. Well, I think that the same thing could be said about Tennessee. This is a very interesting matchup just because a lot of times, you'll look at the guard play, you look at who has the better athletes. I think Tennessee has the better athletes, but at the same time, Creighton's style of play, it can create so many problems because they can shoot lights out.
Yeah.
And they're going to play with really good fundamentals. And but yeah, I mean, I'm going to roll with my Vols. I think that this actually could be a game where, Tennessee gets up for it because we know, hey, Creighton is a really good team.
Yeah.
So, I think that we'll see our best. And, I expect for Tennessee to win this game by, I'm going to say anywhere between 5 to 10 points. So let us know y'all's thoughts down in the comment section. Who's going to win this one and tell us why, please. But thank you so much for sticking all the way to the end. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, share with your friends, family, and other volunteer fans. We'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks. Peace.